Satoru Gojo's death not only left our group of sorcerers in desperation, but also caused a literal social media apocalypse. I find someone saying, "Nah, I'd win" in TikTok comments on TikToks that have nothing to do with Jujutsu Kaisen, and they get likes. Hundreds and hundreds of likes. Hell, you lot bullied Usher into cosplaying as Gojo simply because you can't stop making fucking edits of Gojo coming back to life with this song playing. With all the insanity his death has caused, there also came a serious copium epidemic. Now, purely for the reason of knowing the plot needed Gojo gone, I never really believed he would return. Until now. And don't get me wrong, I'm still pretty 50-50 on it, but I can't ignore the pile of things suggesting his return anymore. In the Hidden Inventory arc, Gojo had his first awakening after being chucked on death's door by the one who left his kid behind. And upon his return, Gege emphasized the importance of severing Gojo's head in order to prevent him from using reverse curse technique. And strangely, after making a big deal out of this, Sukuna did not sever Gojo's head, rather his middle. And Gege could have easily just made the slash sever his head, like he writes the damn manga. So why didn't he? And I know, this is not proof, it's just a little suspicious. Another strange thing about Gojo's death is how the hell Toji managed to get his way into Sorcerer Heaven, but not Nobara or Megami. Well, there you have it, Nobara and Megami will be perfectly fine. When in Sorcerer Heaven, Gojo keeps stressing about it not being real and just his imagination. Again, not proof, but it just seems strange to suggest that kind of thing. Possibly the strangest part of this scene altogether, though, is not Toji's presence, but rather the lack of Sukuna's. Jogo and Kashimo were both considerably weaker than Gojo. Although, upon defeating them, Sukuna did pay his respects in some form of afterlife vision. Despite respecting Gojo and saying he was a fight he will never forget, Sukuna was not present to talk to Gojo in his afterlife. Is it possible that it didn't happen because Gojo wasn't actually dead yet, rather dying, and everyone else just attacked Sukuna before he could finish the job? And this kind of leads into my third suspicion, where Wee Wee comes in to rescue Gojo's dead body. And I don't really understand why Wee Wee and Kurara would risk their lives to save a dead body that isn't going to do them any good anymore. Obviously, they need to account for Kenjaku, and they may simply care enough to do it out of respect, but what's more likely is he's being brought back to at least try and be healed. It would be a waste to not at least try and bring Gojo back. Now, Sukuna concludes that Shoko's reverse curse technique is not enough to heal Gojo. However, with the help of Utahime's Soul and Forbidden Area, she may actually be able to stabilize him enough for him to get the rest done himself, assuming that he isn't properly dead yet. But honestly, I'm not that interested in the question of how Gojo is going to come back. I'm much more interested in the question of why Gojo would come back. So I thought Gojo would stay dead because narratively I see no reason for him to return. But given all of these very suspect decisions from Gege, I decided to entertain the idea that Gojo could actually return. And after a while of scrambling and begging for more copium, I finally found some semi-decent ideas. My theory is Gojo returns to spite Utahime. Okay, the real theory is Sukuna is not the final boss of Jujutsu Kaisen. Even if he does come back, I don't think Gojo will play any significant role in Ryomen Sukuna's defeat. That burden solely lies with Yuji. Yuji will get help from his friends like Yuta and Maki and maybe Rika if she doesn't get eaten, and also Hakari if he actually finishes his fight with Arame anytime this year. However, even after Ryomen Sukuna's defeat, there will still be things that need to be tied up in the story, and a lot of them began in the Hidden Inventory arc. In order for Kenjaku's merger to begin, Sukuna must eliminate all Culling Game players. But please do not assume killing Sukuna first will solve this problem. Kenjaku wanted Tengen to merge with all of Japan, but we know an uncontrolled and evolved Tengen was worried to be a world-ending threat even with no merger. So it's very possible that upon defeating Sukuna, they will still get left with a massive Tengen evolution curse as a big problem. A problem that is narratively Gojo's to fix. Six Eyes users have always been tied to Tengen through fate in order to ensure the mergers take place. However, Gojo saw the end of that cycle when he lost to Toji Fushiguro, who killed the Star Plasma Vessel after beating him. Tengen was therefore allowed to evolve and become closer to Curse Spirit, allowing Kenjaku control over Tengen via his newly acquired curse manipulation technique. So the current threat of Tengen is Gojo's mess, and it would make sense for Gojo to be allowed a chance to finally wrap up his story. This is genuinely the best theory I can come up with about why Gojo would return. Just to fight Tengen, possibly alongside those who survived Sukuna. At the end of the day, this is just incredibly pure and refined copium. Some Walter White grade copium. And as much as I really like this theory, I'm still not totally convinced. I will be very upset if Gojo returns for no real reason other than cause he can. Realistically though, our boy's fucked. Gojo is generally a very misunderstood character. Sukuna Glazers see him as nothing more than a cocky piece of walking fan service, and believe it or not, Gojo Glazers also see him as nothing more than a cocky piece of walking fan service. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Believe it or not though, Gojo is a very deep character with a lot more to him than you would think. Don't get me wrong, I want Gojo to be back as much as you guys do, but I still know that this end suits his character very well. Satoru Gojo was born into this world with incredible responsibility that he could not run from. Unlike Yuta Okkotsu, who chooses to shoulder the responsibility, Gojo was born into it without any choice. He was cocky and arrogant before his awakening and Geto's downfall, yes, but Gojo changed after the Hidden Inventory arc. He remained confident and cocky, but not in the same childish way. He recognized that he alone was the honored one, and he found it lonely. This is where I can draw a comparison with characters like Levi Ackerman. The strongest in humanity carry massive responsibility and are forced to leave all of their loved ones behind. It's the curse of being the strongest. Gojo became a teacher and took it upon himself to raise a new generation of Jujutsu sorcerers who can share the weight of strongest together. Gojo recognized that sorcerers were getting stronger and set his mind to helping them all surpass him, so it doesn't matter if you think Todo belongs in the same class as Yuta and Hikari. All that matters is that the skill difference won't be as isolating as it was for Gojo. If we look at the current events of Jujutsu Kaisen, I'd say Gojo's wish is definitely coming true. We have Yuji, Yuta, Rika, Maki, and hopefully Hikari making moves against Sukuna right now. This means Gojo will go off to Sorcerer Heaven without any worries. Just like when he was trapped in Prison Realm, he will put his faith in his students. Awakened Gojo was never really challenged by anyone other than the one that defeated him, Ryomen Sukuna, hence relieving him of the burden of strongest. So I stand by my idea that Gojo would have rather fought an amazing fight and lost than no-diffed Sukuna and won. I'm not saying he wanted to die, I'm saying he didn't need humbling. Toji Fushiguro already did that all those years ago. So I think it fits Gojo's character perfectly to actually be dead and leave the rest to everybody else. Satoru Gojo always had to fight alone, even against Sukuna, and he lost. But now his students are taking the challenge together and will finally surpass Gojo, just like he said they would. With his main goal being achieved and him being allowed to finally rest, it would be unnecessary and selfish to bring him back. But if he is going to come back, I think the theory discussed in the beginning of this video is the right way to do it. I don't really see any other reason for Gojo to come back than to finish off Tengen. And if he does come back for any other reason, then I really don't think I'm going to be that big of a fan of it. But I'll put my faith in Gege and let him cook for a bit. Be sure to let me know whether you think Gojo will stay dead or not in the comments below, and also don't forget to like and subscribe since we are creeping up on 1,000, which is just mental. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.